Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. I don't know what it is about this YouTube trend where people carry the microphones in their hand and put it close to their mouth like this. It's an ongoing thing at the moment. I thought it was a bit odd, but I just did a sound test and this sounds better than if I stick it up my t-shirt and tie it onto the top of it here. So that's what we're going with. I'm staying in a hotel right now in Thailand. Typical Chelsea. We get a here we go for ENZO MARESCA. We get a brand new manager when I've booked to go on a little trip with my girlfriend. So, for you lot, this is what I have done. And if this isn't a good enough reason to hit the like button for me and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss anything, they've given me a second room in the hotel so that I can come and film videos while the missus is having a little snooze because it's the middle of the night and we have a here we go for ENZO MARESCA. This is the tweet from Fabrizio Romano that we were all waiting for the confirmation. Chelsea have agreed to appoint ENZO MARESCA as new head coach. Here we go. Understand the agreement is now done on contract valid until June 2029. 5-year deal. It will also include an option to extend until June 2030. CFC set to pay compensation fee to Leicester City. The scary thing about this is ENZO MARESCA will probably still be the Chelsea manager when I've had my first kid. Not that I'm going to give birth to it, but within the next 5 years, it would be nice to have a little Benson, a new little Chelsea fan, running around. I personally, being nearly 30 years old, I've had 6 rounds of 5 years. I know what a 5-year, half a decade period of time feels like now. And 5 years is a scary long time, particularly when in the last 2 years, we have had 5 different managers. Now for ENZO MARESCA, you're looking at this one and you are having a very, very nice glass of red wine tonight. Hell, you know what? Don't even stop at a glass, mate. If I'm ENZO MARESCA, I'm getting the bottle out. I'm getting out the best bottle from a vintage year and I'm necking it. That's what I'm doing because I've just set myself up for life. Chelsea Football Club, the club that literally cannot keep hold of managers, have given their new coach a 5-year deal. This to me tells me a hell of a lot. The duration of this contract that ENZO MARESCA has absolutely says to me that the ownership have been trialling and erroring. For the last 2 years, they've realised that being the owners of Chelsea, having Chelsea as a successful club, was not as easy and straightforward as they thought it was going to be. Graham Potter, it didn't work. Mauricio Pochettino, in their eyes, it didn't work. And now they feel as though they've got their man. They feel as though they have that philosophy manager. He's 44 years old. And ENZO MARESCA, you can tell by this 5-year contract, it's more than double what Mauricio Pochettino was given. I think they've seen the Potter idea. It wasn't right. They've got a feeling of what it is they wanted under Pochettino, but Poch wanted too much control. And then they've gone for MARESCA with those trial periods of Potter, Pochettino, and MARESCA is the man that they are absolutely backing here. Now, Tom Coley, 49, this is a tweet that I absolutely agree with. ENZO MARESCA to Chelsea is a big risk. His track record is the weakest of the candidates and a lack of adaptation in style and youth involvement is a worry. CFC and MARESCA have plenty to prove. The truth of the matter is, ENZO MARESCA is one of the most inexperienced managers that were even in the discussions. When you were talking about, or I was talking about in the tier list video, and I said about the managers I'd love it to be, the ones that they're just too big of a name for Chelsea right now, MARESCA was one of the ones where I'm like, inexperience, and if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts about what I think is going to happen here with MARESCA, check out the video from earlier on today. This one is supposed to be about me going through the news and starting to talk a little bit about Chelsea's transfer window. Normally when the season ends, it's the first thing on our minds, but we've had managerial struggles, issues, sackings, hirings, firings to deal with, and today is the first day that we can look at Chelsea's transfer plans. So Nizar Kinsella here, this is another topic that we need to discuss about MARESCA, about Chelsea fans, and the club as a whole. And as you can probably tell, like I've got a bit of a spring in my voice, a spring in my step. I'm excited because any new era at Chelsea excites me because it is a clean slate. And that is where a lot of people at the moment are just so annoyed and so upset that MARESCA's even been appointed. And the way that I see this is, I get it, people want the best for the club, they don't think that Maresca is the right guy, but I'm absolutely going into this with an open mind. As much as I didn't want him in charge, as much as I think the inexperience could absolutely play a part, I'm going to try and be positive. That's the tone I want to bring to at least the channel, and it's exactly how I feel anyway. It's not like I'm fabricating anything or sugarcoating things or making things sound more positive. At the end of the day, if I was screaming at the lens of the camera, my videos would probably get more views anyway. I'm not going to do that because I don't feel that. Intention is to be patient with Enzo Maresca at Chelsea, hence the minimum 5-year deal. Minimum 5 years. Football is not like this anymore. Also, an update on Infinite Athlete. They will stay as Chelsea sponsor in pre-season and may continue into next season on the front of shirt. Top line on this sponsorship stuff, right? We just don't have an alternative. Infinite Athlete was supposed to move to the sleeves. They're not going to move to the sleeves. And because we don't have one on the front, they will still be there at pre-season because Chelsea can't get a better offer right now, apparently. That's what we're led to believe. So, the intention is to be patient with Enzo Maresca. Look, everybody, I've done it already. I've spoken about the connection to Pep Guardiola. I've said about Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. And to be quite honest, there is a world here where I can see this going toxic in the way that patience, Chelsea fans, patience. Look, I want to see Chelsea winning trophies. I don't want to see us regressing year on year on year. Having won a Champions League in 2021, to have now not qualified for that competition since that moment is regression. Since Roman Abramovich had the club taken away from him, Chelsea have regressed. And as I said a couple of videos ago, this appointment that is Enzo Maresca now for sure, this has to be the right one. Otherwise, the model, the hierarchy that we have orchestrated and built at this club has been the wrong one. We will have made too many wrong decisions, and Enzo Maresca won't be the reason for the failures. Yes, maybe the football doesn't work. Maybe fans at Stamford Bridge do get tired of seeing slow build-up. Look, if you can't evolve a slow possession build-up style when you've got brilliant footballers, when you've got a £200 million pivot, it just means that the sporting directors have hired the wrong guy. When you've got the quality of players that Chelsea Football Club have at our disposal in our squad, and as we go into the later part of this video and we talk a little bit here about Chelsea's transfer plans, Enzo Maresca just simply cannot fail. And when it comes to patience, look, I was very patient with Pochettino, and then by the end of it, too many bad results made me want his head, and then I got my patience back again. It is results that make fans willing to be patient. If we keep seeing Chelsea lose and we're in the bottom half of the table, how can you expect fans to not vocalise the fact that they're upset that the club that they knew has gone? When Arsenal lost their opening 3 games of the season under Arteta, tons of people wanted him out. And yes, they were patient, and now you could say that they're bearing the fruits of that. Even though they're not winning anything, they're bearing the fruits of their patience because now they've got a competitive team that will consistently, at minimum, qualify for the Champions League. That is what Chelsea want, but I really hope Chelsea Football Club understand, and this new ownership understand, that we might want that, and it might have worked from Arteta going from under Pep Guardiola to Arsenal. That worked. It does not mean this is going to be the same. It really, really doesn't mean that whatsoever. So, we now go into Fabrizio Romano's comments here, and it's why you can see on the thumbnail that I've got a couple of players in there, Edison and Benjamin Sesko. Fabrizio Romano says, "Mark my words, it will be a busy summer for Chelsea. They will make smart movements, not completely crazy things this time. A goalkeeper, defenders, at least 1 centre-back, so I'm going to make that 2. Striker and winger. That's 5 players. My first thing here is maybe a left-back would be necessary. Some backup for Cucurella. Ben Chilwell just wasn't it last season, and we're selling Ian Maatsen, so we might need some depth there. As for a goalkeeper, I think Petrovic and Sanchez. I think Petrovic did a great job last year, but Sanchez at this point is looking like one of the worst signings that Chelsea have made. 25 million for a goalkeeper that isn't very good with his distribution, not so great with his feet. Sanchez, I don't think, is going to get a sniff under Maresca, and I think Petrovic is a bit too young and isn't developed enough yet. We've seen his distribution get better. We've seen him look a bit more confident with the ball at his feet, but the range of passing and the ability to know and see where the players around him are going to be, I don't think Petrovic has it. So I think a new goalkeeper at Chelsea is going to be needed. And I think, Enzo Maresca was working with Edison at Manchester City. I know it's kind of like a far-fetched rumour, and I've spoken about it a bit this week. Emi Martinez as well from Aston Villa, I think would be a good option here for a possession-based team where Enzo Maresca likes to start the build-up from his keeper. Basically as an extra defender, sweeper keeper, old school stuff. But I think that this is definitely a sign that we're going to need a new keeper. Maybe that means that Sanchez will be out the door. Maybe he doesn't want to be a number 3 at Chelsea, because Petrovic will definitely be a number 2 if Maresca can get his first choice goalie in. I've also seen rumours about James Trafford. I'm absolutely not sold on this one. I don't know why you'd bring in another keeper of the same kind of calibre. I think James Trafford's got a higher ceiling maybe, but don't bring in a keeper with the same ability as the guys you've already got who aren't good enough. Get it right, Chelsea. This is the definition of smart transfers. If we're led to believe that Chelsea are going to be smart in this transfer window, don't just add more numbers of average players onto a position. Centre-backs, Tosin Adarabioyo. He was a Fulham player. He's a free agent this summer. I think this is a great move for Chelsea. I think Tosin is a really solid defender. And to get him in on a free absolutely frees up money to be able to invest in a better keeper. Frees up money to be able to invest in a top goal-scoring striker. And I think it would also, as much as I don't want Trevor Chalobah to leave, we've got to be realistic here. Chelsea, and part of this plan and all of the things that we're hearing about wanting a long-term manager, giving this guy a 5-year contract, we're starting to see what we were led to believe at the start. For whatever reason, it's taken us 5 managers to get to Maresca, but he's the man they've gone for. So I think Tosin Adarabioyo would be a great signing. It would be a free agent. And then, of course, whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant at this point. I don't want Trev to be sold. I think he's too good to be sold. And then the second centre-back, we'll talk about that when Chelsea start being linked with players. The striker position. Fabrizio Romano has also been discussing Benjamin Sesko, a man that we've obviously spoken about before on the channel. Victor Osimhen, I think Chelsea might be looking at the price. Napoli are adamant that they want the release clause for Osimhen. And I think that will probably be stopping Chelsea for going for him, to be quite honest. And Benjamin Sesko, as much as he's very young, his goal-scoring record last season didn't set the world on fire, but he's a player that Chelsea have admired for a while. And I think as much as the 100 million Osimhen move has been something that we've wanted for a while, a lot of us have at least, not everybody, I get that. But I do think maybe this summer, with all of the managerial changes, I don't think we should be spending hundreds of millions on individual players. I'm starting to feel as though bringing in a couple of extra names in position where we clearly need backup or improvements and not spending hundreds upon hundreds of millions might just be the best thing to do. So with that being said, Benjamin Sesko might actually be the right option here. He's going to be available for about half the cost of what it would cost to bring Victor Osimhen to the club. So this is what I think is going to happen here. I think a new goalkeeper is coming in and a new striker for sure. The last thing I want to discuss today is Conor Gallagher, because I feel as though Gallagher under Maresca, when it comes to the press, to be able to win the ball back, to regain things, the running that Gallagher does, the season that he's just had at Chelsea, as much as I don't necessarily think technically Gallagher is as good as Enzo can be and Caicedo can be, right now, let's not beat around the bush. Gallagher has been showing technical ability this season. I don't want it to come across that I don't see Gallagher as a technical player. I just think the ceilings of Caicedo and Enzo, with the money that we spent on them, they will be given preferential treatment. That will be, in my opinion, what the ownership are telling him. They'll be like, look, mate, you've got this £200 million pivot that managers would dream of working with. Make it work. And I do think still the club are desperate to get that Gallagher money, but I'm not ruling out Enzo Maresca wanting to keep Gallagher at Chelsea. There's been some rumours, I don't know if any of it is true, that Maresca has actually said he wants Gallagher to stay. This is one that we're going to have to see develop. We know that Chelsea wanted to get the sale done. But let's wait and see. With this one with Gallagher, I'd love him to stay. I've made that clear all season long. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. It's here we go. Enzo Maresca, I'm going to obviously be going to bed soon, but I'll be waiting for the official announcement from Chelsea. We'll go into his first words and any parting comments from Leicester. And then we can start looking forward to the new season and the transfer window. I'm buzzing about that. Let me know if you guys are. Hit the like button on today's video. Subscribe if you are new. And as I said earlier, check out the last video that was uploaded a few hours ago on the channel where I give a bit more in-depth thoughts about my feelings on this Maresca appointment. Thank you guys for watching. Come on, you Blues.